If you're enjoying the show and you'd like to get more, maybe you want to get bonus episodes, maybe you want to get episodes early, maybe you'd like to join monthly video hangouts with me, Jeff, and other fans of the show, the way to find out how to do that is to go to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
That's a survival kit / if we need to change our identities at a
yeah, exactly.
notice.
You got to wrap the money in plastic. I learned that from Ozark. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
Oh man, Anthony, I got a story here that I suspect, based on your opinion effort, your stance doing stuff.
What is my stance effort and doing stuff?
You're not a fan? You're like you prefer Thai food and sitting?
Sure. I mean, don't put any effort into anything you don't have to.
Right.
That's
and
for
most
sure.
Stuff you don't have to, right?
Yeah, work smarter, not harder.
Work not at all.
Work less, do nothing more.
Right, but that would be complicated if you were literally called a worker. Like a worker ant, for example. This story is about worker ants. It was sent in by Ben Sawyer on the Facebook.
Hey, Flint Mac, what up?
Yeah. Ben Sawyer sent this to our Facebook group, or posted it there, which is facebook.com/groups/wehaveconcerns.
Ben Sawyer sent a letter to Facebook asking them to post this in our group.
It took a while.
It took a while, but you can do it.
It turns out they'll answer those.
That's just a government law. All websites have to accept your letters.
So it turns out, based on this research, that 40% of, quote, worker ants don't do shit.
Hell yeah.
They sit around doing nothing, while the 60% do all the shit.
Let me tell you something. Number one, that's a better split than we have in humanity.
Yes.
And number two, this is astounding to me because we have been told our entire lives about the worker ant, about the hive mind.
Yeah.
About each of them working to the top of their ability for the greater good of the entire colony.
They've been held up as a metaphor for what we should be doing, and yet 40% of them just fuck right off.
Yeah. Which, like, now I believe that they're a metaphor for what we should be doing.
Yeah. I suspected you might think this. So these are inactive, lazy ants that literally
Is that what they called scientifically lazy?
Yeah.
The researchers were like, well, we've put a lot of research in, we've taken all the measurements, we've synthesized all the data, and it turns out that you a dick.
Dr. Marceau, doesn't the term lazy sort of indicate judgment on your part?
Wow, I saw that coming, and it jives with my data, which says that you a dick.
What? All right. Well, if we both dicks, I guess that's why.
I never said I was.
Well,
you're misreading the data.
You're kind of judging.
Here's the data. Ant's lazy.
Yeah.
Dr. Stevenson a dick.
What?
Dr. Marceau, cool guy.
Oh, that's the data?
That's the data. I can't change the data.
You're the only one that mined the data, though.
Yeah, but it was a large sample size.
What?
It was a lot of ants and you and me. Those ants are definitely lazy. Like, look at them. They built little hammocks, and that's the only thing they built.
Man.
Which means they're smarter than we thought, but that's not really part of my study. And I'm not curious about it. You and me are the only humans in the sample size, and clearly based on studying you and me, you a dick.
I'm a dick?
I'm cool.
Huh.
Ant's lazy. I'm out.
Dr. Marceau, come back.
Never.
So here's what they do. Mostly nothing.
Cool. I can get down with that.
They observed that the lazy ants tend to have more distended abdomens. So they're literally sitting around getting fat and lazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What does a fat ant look like?
It looks like, imagine a Homer Simpson as an ant.
I can't. Like, here's what's up. I picture ants, right? I picture the high power microscope view of an ant, the scientific drawing of an ant, the EA sim ant of ants.
Right.
And I'm just picturing, they've got the abdomen and the thorax, and they're all They look smooth and shiny and rock-like and just tough and hard. And like, I can't imagine what that looks like fat.
The abdomen is larger than the thorax.
That's it?
Yeah.
It's still like weirdly...
disproportionate abdomen.
It's still weirdly segmented and smooth and hard and like... But it's... Man.
It jiggles a little now,
What
though.
if... I bet it doesn't, though. What if, when we got fat, it was still the consistency of muscle?
You guys just got really... like large distended abs.
Yeah,
like you got
yeah.
a 6-pack, but it's like
it
disproportionate.
Because that's the way I picture an ant if it gets fat.
Yeah.
I just picture like, oh, it's not so much that you look fat as that your abdomen is now bigger than your thorax, right? Like
the way I picture. Have you ever seen those guys that somehow look normal, but like all of their weight is right in their gut?
Yeah.
Like they have regular legs, regular arms, even a regular sort of upper body, but there's just this like bulging belly.
Yeah.
And it's like all of it just went to the belly. I feel like that's what the ants look like, is that just one spot is just bigger than the other spots.
I just can't imagine. I imagine ants, if an ant was as large as me and I touched its abdomen, I want to say its abdomen would feel like a smooth, cold stone.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
Right?
Like if you were in a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids type situation.
Yeah. And
Kids ask your parents.
And I was riding on that ant, like the Zelensky children.
Yeah, right.
I would be worried about, and I thought this when I was a kid, I was like, how are they staying on that ant? How are they not sliding around?
It's so hard and slippery.
But that's not ants.
No.
That's just my
have
idea.
Fur. Ants have fucking fur.
That's just my idea of an ant based on scientific drawings of it.
Based on the film Ants with a Z.
Yeah. Which, as we're not going to do a whole other episode about ants.
We've done, there's a lot of canon about ants.
There's a lot of ants canon on this show, and you know how we feel about it, so we're just going to move on.
Here's what they theorize about this, because
why? Yeah, why? Why are they allowed to do this?
There's got to be a reason for 40% lazy ant, right?
Oh, can I give you what I think it is?
Yeah, please.
All right, here's what I think it is. It is a question of having, because they are a colony and because they work together as a colony, I believe that it is only 40% of the population is needed to do all of the work required to keep the colony running, or 60% or whatever the working percent, 60%. And then the 40% is basically like the Ant National Guard or the Ant Reserves, right? Like if we if we run short on troops there is a localized disaster, those ants will be called up into being worker ants.
Just 2 weekends a month. That's all they ask.
Yeah. And then you can pay for college, ant college.
So your position is that they are not the ant bourgeoisie. They are the ant, like they are the actual army reserves.
I think they are the ant bourgeoisie, but in a society where you only get to be the bourgeoisie until we run out of foot soldiers.
Well, I'm impressed because that's exactly the theory. That's the theory that the scientists are coming up with.
I'm so good at a science.
You are pretty good. They said but it's a little darker.
Dick. I'm cool.
It's a little darker than you're saying. It's not just that the scientists think that they're in reserve for the work that they may apply. They say that they may be a reserve of genetic material. So the reason that they have a distended abdomens, they think, is because they literally could be living pantries. They could be a food source. If worse comes to worse, we gonna eat you.
Oh.
We're going to eat the fat people. This is what the scientists think the ants are saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ants will literally eat the rich if needed.
Exactly. It's cool, dude. Sit there, eat all you want. We'll do all the work. But
really?
When the day comes, yeah, just listen to the second part, though.
Nah.
Because when the day comes.
No, this sounds good. I don't want to know.
Day comes.
You got to tell me, huh?
Okay, we don't have to tell you. Should we tell him?
No,
Kelly, should we tell him? Let's make it a surprise. All right. It's a surprise. No, eat another muffin.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I dig it. I get this. I understand this. This is smart.
Okay, so
we should do this.
We should. You're into this idea? Just let people be around. That's our earthquake preparedness kit.
What if
a person who's been eating well?
There's plenty of sci-fi about this, but the first thing that pops into my head was an episode of the seminal television series Sliders.
Man, there's always a Sliders.
There's always a Sliders.
There's a Sliders for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a man. There's always a tower. There's always a Sliders episode. But there was an episode of Sliders where they slid in and like there was this whole like fancy pants class that was like living large and doing whatever. And it was because like you're gonna be murdered.
Yeah.
You're gonna be murdered early.
Live it up.
Yeah, live
Enjoy.
it up now. You can have as much as you want.
But the ants are going to come and eat you.
Because the more you use, the earlier we kill you.
Yeah. That's the theory. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with this theory. Because they tested this.
Doesn't seem like a problem to me.
They tested this by saying, okay, so what happens if we just selectively remove the 40%? What happens? Okay. So they removed actually, they didn't take out the whole 40%. They removed the least active 20% of the 40%.
All right.
Okay. And they found that these ants, unlike the top performing worker ants, were not replaced. So the colony was like, you guys are cool, chill. We need you. We'll eat you.
Yeah.
But if you're gone, it's no big whoop. We're not going to make new lazy ants.
I mean, that makes sense.
But we will make new worker ants to fill in those gaps because that's essential.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
It does?
Yeah.
You think that that's just a process that happens? How does the
because if these are reserve food, if these are reserve resources, if these are just reserve ants, period, there is no rush to replace. If you're talking about taking the laziest 20 or the fattest 20% of the 40% or whatever it was, you're talking about removing a total of 8% of the lazy ants.
Well, I think it's not 20% of 40%. I misspoke that. It's 20% of the 100%. So it's the bottom 20% of which 40% are the lazy ants.
Gotcha. So it's 20% of the total ant colony's population, but it comes specifically from the reserves. Yeah. Gotcha. Even still, you have 20% of your population in reserve.
Yeah.
And I think
that's true.
You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. So I think even though they probably didn't observe the ants replacing them all at once, because they're not workers, they're not important.
Yeah.
If they get lost, we don't need to replace them immediately because it's not like that means food stops coming in.
Right.
These are just the lazy guys that we maybe eat. We give them the food to eat so we can eat them later.
Yeah.
So you can kind of replace those like very, very slowly. I bet if they watched it over a long period of time, that population would slowly rise back up again.
I would love to be selected as the ant who's been working so hard and they're like, oh man, did you know that 20% of everybody left yesterday? Yeah, I did.
Like an ant version of The Leftovers?
Yeah.
Like a real sad HBO series about ants?
Yeah. And they got one guy's
not a lot of people, not a statistically relevant number of ants.
Enough to be disturbing and get under your skin a little bit.
Yeah.
And really kind of mess with the whole hierarchy of the world.
And Aunt Justin Thoreau is there, and his thorax is looking super good.
So good.
Super good. And those ant hair plugs he got are like really, they came in.
Yeah.
They came in, and like he's wearing some loose-fitting ant basketball shorts all the time.
The really creepy part is the ant smokers.
Yeah.
They never talk.
Well, none of the ants do.
That's true.
Because they're ants.
They really never talk.
And they just sit off while other ants are collecting food. They just sit off at the side, and they're just like...
Yeah. Yeah, that's creepy, dude.
Yeah, it was a very disturbing show. I cannot believe that Ant Leftovers was basically snubbed at the Ant Emmys.
Ant Emmys, yeah. By the way, that Ant Emmy statue is gorgeous. That beautiful gold ant with the wings.
Very small.
Very
small. Hard to see.
Yes, but worth it.
But if you get a chance, and an electron microscope.
Heavier than you think.
And HBO is putting out some real good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Peak Ant TV.
It went through a dark period with Aunt Treme.
True Ant Detective Season 2.
Oh, man.
Not
True
great.
Ant Detective Season 2 was such a letdown for Ant Detective.
It turned out the food was just inside the ants. They thought there was like some sort of like crazy food embezzlement ring. It was just inside the ants the whole time.
Inside the ants. They were eating it.
That's it.
That's just bad writing. What that is. Ant writing. Do you think this is applicable to human beings? Do you think that it is inevitable to find any colony that doesn't have a portion of freeloaders, a portion of lazy people that just aren't going to work. If we're finding it in nature on an ant level, are we going to find this in bees? Are we going to find it? I mean, clearly in humans, right? Is this just natural?
We got some lazy people, sure. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, all the survival of any species, especially a species that runs in some sort of group or tribe or pack or whatever, there are naturally going to be harder workers than others. There are naturally going to be smarter. There are naturally going to be stronger. There will naturally be lazier. I don't know that we necessarily... We don't have... Other species probably don't have as one-to-one as is like these ants literally create a destroyable percentage of the population for the express purpose of being lazy.
Well, that's our interpretation of it. But maybe are the scientists wrong for even trying to find an interpretation? What if this is just a natural...
Things just are, man.
Well, what if this is just a natural byproduct, as you're saying, of
no,
there's a spectrum of usefulness.
Statistically too large.
Yeah, you're
statistically
right.
too large.
40% is too crazy.
40% of any population of any animal species literally doing nothing, they're doing nothing for a reason.
Right.
That's what I think. I don't know. What do you guys think? You can let us know on Twitter. I'm at acarboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
And you can hashtag those Ant Emmys. Because if you hashtag something Ant Emmys once a day, that's every one of those counts as a vote.
Yeah.
And then we get nominated into the Ant Podcast Awards.
Oh, man, I really want to win an Ant Podcast Award. It's amazing how Ant Hulu got an Ant Emmy before Ant Amazon did.
Ants is better than Bugs Life. Bye.